Welcome to the Angler Talk Podcast with Chris and Aaron. Brought to you by FishingMagicianTV.com.
What is up, everybody? It's Chris and Aaron back again with another weekly episode of Angler Talk. How we going, brother?
Good, man. Good. You know, I love this transition from like early spring, mid-spring into summer. We did a little wade fishing over this week that just passed. I think it was Sunday into Monday. Both days we did a little bit of wade fishing with my buddy Dave. And I'll tell you, Chris, it was nice to be knee deep in the water here. I mean, stingrays everywhere, dude. Sharks everywhere. Dolphins, sea trout, snook. Like, I mean, it was a really cool experience to not have to captain and operate the boat and still have a productive day on the water. You know, in the water at that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And I've heard about what's going on down there in South Florida. I know you're more into the central and north side, you know, Miami catching some type of storm, tropical storm, or really small hurricane. I know the streets of Miami are underwater. Has it really affected Sebastian much?
No, not at all. We actually look forward to it, dude, because we've been, you know, not really in a drought, but as we get into the season, the summer season, we start to get these rainstorms that are like mini hurricanes. Guys up north, dude. Every friggin' night around, 3 to 5-ish, we get these 20-mile-an-hour gusting winds, dude, and just torrential downpours for 20 minutes. And you're like, holy hell, everybody's afraid of a hurricane. We get one every day after work here in this time of the year, you know? But no, we looked forward to it because all the reservoirs that I've been fishing, these transition areas where it goes from fresh to salt and like filter ponds have been overflowed, bro. And when that happens, the bigger bass start feeding, dude, on different creatures that are being washed in. I mean, the fresh to brackish water tarpons start feeding. So, I mean, your boy might be able to pull one of these tarpons sooner than later, dude.
I hear you, brother, man. And the fishing in Jersey has been off the charts, man, from everything from fluke to sea bass. The stripers are still going really strong and out there in Raritan Bay, man. I mean, it's just on fire.
I heard, dude, and I got a couple of reports from a buddy up in Atlantic City pulling black drum off of one of the rock piles, dude. So, I mean, you can't go wrong. You go out there and soak some clam, go out in the river and soak some bloodworm, throw some plugs underneath the lights at night. I mean, your chances are increased tenfold from what they were 3 months ago, dude. I mean, so, get out there and do some fishing, guys, for sure.
I hear you, man. And to get to the reason why a lot of people are clicking on this video, if you all saw the thumbnail here on YouTube, you know that Joe Cermele, the former senior fishing editor over at MEATEATER.com and the junior fishing editor at Field and Stream, comes on the show. And it's always a pleasure to have a guy like Joe. I mean, he has such a strong background in fishing in general. I mean, from salt to fresh, and he loves the river. He loves the fly, but he knows how to do his thing for sure. So, I hope these people enjoy this interview and get to hear from what Joe's got going on.
I mean, you guys definitely, this is a good listen, dude. Joe reminds me of one of them old school friends from high school, dude, that was all about the skater scene, dude, that just loved to have a good time. And I tell you what, Joe prides himself with like a strong community behind him. I mean, that's what he does. Everything that he does for is that community of followers, dude. So, I mean, really, you can't find a more genuine person than Joe.
And here we are with Joe Cermele, the former senior fishing editor at themeateater.com. How you been, bud?
Good, man. How you guys been? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I can't complain, man. You were one of the first guests on the original series before this was actually Angler Talk. It's been about a year, and, always exciting when you come on. So what's new in the world of Joe Cermele?
Wow, what's new in the world of Joe Cermelli? Geez, I don't even know where to begin. Quite a bit. Sort of a whole new career path for me, I guess. And I can't talk a whole lot about that right now, but a lot of my followers know that I recently parted ways with the MeatEater, and in a very amicable, nothing but respect way. But I'm going to be trying some new stuff out now. Some new things in the pipeline. So I'm excited about it.
That's awesome, man. That's great to hear, because every time Joe puts something out, we know that it's something that's going to keep us entertained and at the edge of our seats. So we can't wait to see what's going on. But I did see some posts a couple days ago, some sea bass fishing, and how's the fishing been going for you?
Fishing's been great. I've been spending quite a bit more time fishing this spring because I kind of have some more time because of this sort of path change, if you will. But sea bass, yeah, and it's funny you bring that up. Had a great day with my boy Captain Eric Kerber, who I know you guys have had on a couple times. My brother from another mother. Sea bass, bottom fishing in general around here, other than tog, which I love, I don't do a ton of it. Like I'm not a big fluke guy. I'd much rather catch an albie than a sea bass. But it just so happened that he had a charter with a longtime Hook Shots fan who comes up and books him every year. And every year, this dude Neil's like, "You coming out?" And I'm always away. Like without fail, I am traveling when he's in town. And this year I wasn't. So I was like, "Yeah, whatever we're doing." And Old Curbs had stumbled upon a sea bass bite that was insane. So even though I don't do it very much, man, I got treated just last week to one of the most ridiculous black sea bass bites ever. Jigs, clams, whatever you wanted. I mean, we were releasing 15s, you know what I mean? Because they were all that big, you know what I mean? So everything we kept was well over the mark. And sea bass now in Jersey is such a short season, so the guys who love that don't have that much time to get after it. So everybody's like, "Where are you, man? It's Shark River Reef and all this stuff." I'm like, "Nah, dude, we were way off. Like we went for it. Like so we got it done, but we took a ride, and everybody who was inshore is like, "Oh, I'm not burning the gas to get out there." I'm like, well, there you go, though.
Last year, Joe, I went out. I think it was about 15 miles off. Just started touching the reef out there in New Jersey, and it was blowing so strong. Current was ripping so strong to where I'm driving, dropping, and then having to restart by the time this damn thing hits the bottom and go back over the little piece of structure that we're on. And we didn't do bad. I mean, we caught probably 10 or 15 fish, maybe 4 or 5 keepers, something like that the entire time, which the entire time maybe been an hour because we had enough of that, So
Yeah.
But having a season like that's good, dude. I mean, that's a hell of a trip.
Oh yeah. Again, I mean, I don't get to do that very much. I just kind of fell into the position where I'll jump on board, and that's what they're doing that day.
Right.
I mean, we had a 5-man limit, an hour and a half with hump heads. I mean, it was literally, and then we went looking for tuna, and that didn't happen. There were no tuna, but we had a box full of sea bass, so it was good.
So Joe, you mentioned earlier in this conversation something about tog. I got to bring this up, right? Because I got a buddy of mine that works over on a podcast. I'm not going to put the name out there right now, but he was talking about catching tog on fly, dude. And I think I watched something from years back, dude, where you had
Oh, I've done it.
Yeah,
I pioneered that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
So tell us
I'm kidding
about that, dude, because that was friggin' awesome, bro. I couldn't believe that when I saw it.
Yeah, it's funny. That was so damn long ago, but it still comes up now and again. And the funny thing about it is people will see that now and they're still like, you faked that. There's a piece of crab on that fly line. There's no way. And it was complete happenstance. Again, with Eric Kerber years ago, won't say the spot, but we were striper fishing at night and the water was lit. We were in a lit area and there's just like these things sipping and it sounded like a trout, like these dimples.
Right.
It wasn't heavy enough to be stripers. And we're like, what the hell would that possibly be? What else could possibly be here?
Yeah.
So we're looking and these little dark fish are coming up and we went, oh my God, those are tog feeding in these lights. Now, I've always learned, and I'm pretty sure it's accurate, tog go to sleep. Like tog are not nocturnal. Nobody tog fishes at night. Yeah. So already it's like, here's late night tog that should not be awake.
Right.
And then you have these fish feeding off the surface and I'm looking at it going, my God, they must be picking tiny crabs, pulling out with the tide in these lights. So I had a fly rod. I had a little, I remember it, the perfect, by happenstance, perfect Orvis floating crab, this teeny tiny little crab pattern.
Meant to be.
And we're like, let's try it. And I like laid in there, mended like I'm dry fly fishing for trout, like feeding line. And damn if that tog didn't come up and just suck that thing. And we were like, no way. So that's when we fired up a camera. We're like, nobody's ever going to believe that. Yeah, so we have to film it, and we filmed it and threw it out there. And it still pops up every once in a while. But to this day, people are like, no. Yeah. Still don't. I mean, I'm watching you do it, but I don't believe it. Like there's bait on that. There's something. So
it doesn't have to be the big ones, dude, to make a memorable trip like that, dude. That's the little guys that are like, nobody's ever going to believe this. We have to videotape this. Super memorable.
Yeah. And we've done it again since. but that's the only scenario in this one place. Like I've never stumbled into that anywhere else. And funny side note, years ago when I was still working for Saltwater Sportsman, somebody submitted a query for an article that was tog on fly, and we were all intrigued and kind of bit. We were like, all right, let's look at an outline, see what it's like. And anyway, I don't remember who it was, but basically this guy wrote this whole article about togging around the rocks in Long Island with a fly rod. But then after reading it, you finally figured out that, yeah, but he's only ever caught like one. So he does it, but he's not exactly dialed in on it. And we were like, we can't get a story out of your one tog, dude. Either you're dialed on this or not. Right. So I don't really know anybody who's super dialed on it, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, man. When I first saw that video, at first I was like, no way. So I had to rewatch it, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. If there is anybody on this planet that can catch something on a fly, it's got to be Joe. There's no question about that.
Well, and I appreciate you pumping my lack of, I'm not that skillful with a fly rod. I'm not like a savant with a fly. That was just purely right place, right time, and exact right fly. Right. If I had just had a box full of Clouser minnows and deceivers for stripers, wouldn't have happened. I never used the damn thing before. I think I bought it for a bonefish trip years earlier or something, and it was just stuck in the box. And I was like, oh, shit, would you look at that? It's a floating crab.
So perfect.
It just worked out. That's all.
Yeah, so since you brought up stripers, I got to ask you, man, how many stripers do you have on the fly already this year?
Man, not as many as I should. I don't know. Probably not that many. Probably, I don't know, 8 or 9, and that's basically just from one good day on Raritan Bay. No giants, but I always try and get in on the Raritan Bay bite because I don't know if you guys know how it sets up, but you know how they sort of start way up in the river, right? Mm-hmm. Real shallow, and it's smaller fish, and then it slowly transitions into bigger fish out in the main bay. I've had some incredible days fly fishing the main bay, and I tried a few times this year, but between current and depth, that didn't work out. So I had one good day up the river when they were shallow. So, not that many. I tell you, man, I'm a very situational saltwater fly fisherman. Yeah. It's rare for me to go out saltwater fishing without a fly rod on the boat in case the right scenario pops up.
Right.
But dude, if you were like, you got to get on the boat and go out with nothing but that, no. Like there's no way. Like I'm not that much of like a
fly or die
glutton for punishment. I'm not fly or die. And a buddy of mine, Mike Carr, good writer, we ended up out on Raritan Bay, and he is fly or die, and I respect that. And he caught some very nice fish in the main bay, but I mean that dude's working all day to get his 4 on that fly to my 25 on a spoon. So like I love fly fishing if it sets up for it, you know, in saltwater, but yeah, dude, I like catching them more than catching them on a fly rod. You know what I mean?
No, I gotta agree, man. To be honest with you, dude, I almost feel like if the time presents, it's perfect, dude, because you're not working. It's not like you're fishing for muskie where you're doing 4,000 fish, cast kind of deal thing, you know. But I will tell you, the Raritan Bay is something I haven't been able to dip my toes in, dude. I was in New Jersey my entire life. Grew up there in South Jersey, dude. Fished, all behind Absecon, all the way up to Massachusetts, and I bypassed the Raritan every time, dude. I never stopped in, and this guy tells me how amazing of a fishery that place is, dude. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
It beats me up every time.
And I think it always has been, Chris, right? But ironically, it's not something I did my whole life either. I mean, I had my boat in Barnegat. You waited till they were in Barnegat. It feels like only the last, 10 years or so, Raritan Bay just became the place. Now, I know there was always good fishing there, but now it's like, oh, it's April and May and you're not in Raritan Bay? Well, you're an idiot because there's no stripers anywhere else. You know? I feel like it's recent, you know?
Yeah, we get lucky because, they go up the Hudson to spawn. And, especially in May, when we get that super moon, that's when it's game on. I mean, we talk about the big 40s and 50s, they're all over the place. But about fly fishing, I got to ask you one more question about fly fishing. Yeah. What is probably the craziest species that, besides the tog, because that's probably up there, what is the craziest species that you caught on a fly?
Oh, man. You'd think that answer would be at the tip of my tongue. I got to be real honest with you, though, dude. I think the tog is it. I really do. I mean, in terms of weird and unexpected, I can't think of anything else that pops into my brain that shouldn't be caught on fly or like would be incredibly difficult to catch on fly. Everything else I've caught is a pretty viable fly target.
Yeah.
but not that tog, man. Like,
No.
yeah, not that.
No.
Yeah.
I honestly thought there was an answer coming because Aaron happened to say the name of the species, and I know how much you love shooting those muskie on the fly videos.
Yeah, but you said caught. I ain't caught one of them on the fly, man. I am still skunked on muskies on the fly.
Yeah, it sounds like me with a tarpon here in Florida, dude. Everybody's called a fucking tarpon around me, Joe. And it's like every time I get one hooked up, it screams, runs a football field, dude, comes back to my feet. I'm thinking of Chris. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna make this sick video, show this man tomorrow morning. He's gonna be super jealous. Pop! Right off of my feet, dude.
Yeah.
Every time, you know.
The only other one that comes to mind is I caught a she-fish. You guys know what she-fish are up in Alaska?
I saw that. No,
Yeah.
You were screaming for the guy. Get the net. It's a bucket list for you. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So, and they're a fly target too. The crazy thing about that was, I asked about she-fish where we were pike fishing, and the guide we were fishing with, Trevor Smith, buddy of mine, he's like, yeah, they're here, but they're kind of ghosts, and I don't even really know like where to take you to target them. You just kind of luck into one, and in 3 years here, I've caught one with clients on a spoon.
Right.
So we're out there fly fishing for pike, and all of a sudden it was like, holy shit. Not only did we find one, we ended up finding 3, and they all ate flies. So, you know, that was a pretty memorable fly catch.
That's pretty big. That's pretty damn big for sure. So, Joe, what does the near future hold for you then, buddy? I know you can't really, dive too, far deep in on it, but is there, I mean, you're thinking of possibly chartering, or is it more of a visual thing for you, or, let the listeners know a little bit, give them a little insight on what's
Aaron's diving deep.
Well, yeah, and I gotta keep,
Joe.
I gotta keep it slightly vague, but in the very near future, you're going to see a lot of writing bylines pop up in particular places again. I mean, really, I'm sort of a free agent now, which is fun and also nerve-wracking, but mostly fun. And priority number one for me in terms of what I start next will be another podcast. That's as much as I will say right now. But, I love the Hook Shots podcast. I had a lot of fun for 2 years with Bent. It was a really fun show to put together. And I've listened to my listeners, and you had a lot of people that loved that Bent format. And you had a lot of people that were like, the Hook Shots format was actually, we like that more, man. So I hear you. And all I can say is we're trying to come up with the perfect heavy metal marriage of Bent and the old Hook Shots podcast. So that's what's shaking.
And Joe, listen, I will tell you, watching some of the old videos, dude, it reminded me of like mid 90s in New Jersey skater scene, bro. And that's where you had me, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hardcore Nirvana, hanging out behind the high school, bro. Like, doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, and then hanging out with your buddies. Like, you literally had me in a headlock when I watched one video because it had that feel to it,
Well, that's always been. Oh, it's funny because I love skate culture. There's 5 skateboard decks, all fishing related, hanging in the room I'm sitting in. People are like, "You skate?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I've never." No, but I love the culture. So. That's what I'm most excited about. If to be honest about this next chapter here is, for the first time, there's nobody to tell me no, or you can't do that. So this will be designed exactly how I see fit. I will be the last word, and I know how to have a good time. I know what people who follow me like, and we're gonna have some fun. And skate culture is a good way to put it. Like, I'm going to lean into that harder than maybe I even did at Hook Shots because I can do whatever the hell I want,
Looking forward to it, Joe, for sure.
Dude, I can't even wait, bro. You look, you gave me goosebumps right now, man. I want to see JC and EK get back on it,
I will say this, though. I was on another podcast recently, and I feel like every time I'm on one, I have to put this public service announcement out there for any of your listeners who follow me. Since Bent went away, I've just been hounded like, when's the new show? When's the new show? We miss you. When's the new show? When's the new show? And I totally get that everybody's like, get back out there ASAP. But I'm determined to not start a new podcast at the kitchen table. I'm going bigger and better than that. And it takes some time to get it right and organize things exactly the way I want them. So I'm not going to keep anybody hanging too long, but bear with me. It will be worth it. That is all.
I gotta be honest about something, man. There's only, besides movies, there's only like 3 shows that has ever kept me entertained in my life. That was The Sopranos. Unfortunately, that ended. the Sons of Anarchy, that ended. And then it was hook shots. So, when I hear the chance of something coming back, that definitely kept me entertained. I'm sitting at the edge of my seat and I'm waiting, brother.
Well, it's a funny thing too. I mean, hook shots comes up more than, I mean, granted, it was relatively short stint at MEATEATER. Again, loved what I did there. It was very fun. But I mean, hook shots it been around for so much longer. I did that for 11 years. Somehow I pulled that shit off for 11 years, right?
Yeah.
So, but that is definitely still my vibe with the skate scene, music, like, I love shit movies and can quote like Freddie Got Fingered. Like that's who I am, right? Like that's who I am. But at the same time, I look back on hook shots and I'm like, damn, I was 25 when I started that. Like I'm turning 40 this year. You know what I mean? So it's also, everybody wants the old JC EK magic of hook shots. I get it all the time. Like hook shots part 2. You would like, dude, we're freaking old now, man. And Kerber is chartering every day. Like,
yeah,
we were 25 and 28, I think, when that started. So
right.
it's like a cool sort of legacy, but it's like, it's in that sense, it's a little hard to recapture,
Oh yeah, you get winded at the end of your explanations now. You know what I mean? No, but no, huge accomplishment, Joe. I mean, honestly, 11 years, dude, doing that from that age to now, dude. I mean, huge. And just like Chris said, dude, being on the edge of your seat, super creative guy. I don't know if most people know that most of that media was done with your own hands and your own mind, dude. So I can't. I'm a video guy, right? I love editing. I love making clips. And to see the detail or the detailed quality that was in the videos you made, dude, I can't wait to see what you come up with, bro. To be honest with you.
Well, yeah, and again, like I'm going to jump into the podcast arena and see where video goes. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of people. I hope to stay in video. I hope down the road I can start my own series again, but that costs a lot more money than a podcast. Yeah, and sure. Right now I don't really have any of that, so we got to take it like one step at a time. But I've always, I really love cutting video. I still love cutting video, and I think that ties back to starting out in writing. I mean, the earliest part of my career was storytelling. It was magazine writing. So it's funny because you talk about like the quality of hook shots. Actually, I thought hook shots was shit, dude. Like I'm using a Best Buy Handycam and like a GoPro 2, you know what I mean? Right. But I was always of the mindset of, if you're telling a good story and can engage somebody with a story, you can shoot it on a flip phone. Like you got to hook somebody with a story that you're telling 100%. First. So I didn't feel like I needed the Red Dragon or whatever all the kids are using these days, because I just like telling a good story. So I will keep that going with everything I do. I still believe that,
Awesome.
Absolutely, man. And in all honesty, in the midst of our conversation, I just kind of realized that, it kind of seems like me and Aaron are, not to flatter you, but we're kind of following in your footsteps, because we started off with the podcast because unfortunately we have to work a big boy job. You know what I'm saying? We can't afford to just sit home and make videos every day. But I
can't either. So
we do have a lot of plans to film series and stuff like that. So it's just made me realize that, like, subconsciously, without even knowing, we're following Joe Cermelli's footsteps.
Only to hope. Only to pray to get to where you're at, Joe, to be honest with you, buddy. I mean, I felt like, from the time of 16 till now, dude, I've been trying to catch quality video and get it out there in a way to where someone will connect with it, and feel like they're out there also, dude. But I feel like I am a light year away from putting out the quality of editing that you put together, dude, honestly.
No, dude, I don't necessarily think that, because really, I think a lot of the magic of hook shots and everything, really, yes, the content's part of it, but what I've always really strived to do with everything, whether it was Ben or hook shots, didn't really matter. I just wanted to create a community. I like hanging out with good people, whether that's digitally or, in person.
Right.
Hook shots never had millions of views. I was not the Guggen Squad. We were not making millions of dollars off that, but it was a really loyal following. And if 10 people are loyal and tune in, dude, I will bend over backwards for you, because I'm so grateful for the 10 people that are there that, like, hey, dude, then yeah, I'm all in for you. And that's really what drives me, is creating communities around things.
Yeah.
and that's why going forward, I'm excited to have some freedoms I didn't have before, because now if it's like, well, hey, community, we're having a live event over here, come hang out, I can do that, So we're gonna have a good time. I really look forward to taking that community that's always been there sort of digitally and chit chatting back and forth with people all these years, and figuring out ways to, like, let's all hang out. You joked about guiding. Am I going to become a guide? It's funny. I'd be curious to hear if you got any feedback on this comment. I shouldn't even really say this yet. I don't really want to become a guide. Excuse me, but I thought about, like, maybe I should get licensed and like for freshwater in PA, and just do like 6 trophy trout trips per year, through one of my buddies' outfitters. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if anybody would care or sign on. I don't know. But
of course they would, dude. I mean, listen, you've already talked about having such a strong, I don't want to say following, but a community behind you, dude, that of course they would. And I think they value the knowledge of doing it for as long as you have done, and seeing the pictures and the proof in the pudding, you might say, of the fish that you're catching, to where, why wouldn't they want to be a part of that, Joe? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing about me. Like, I'll jump on the podcast and talk and shoot videos perfectly comfortably. But if somebody was paying me money to take them fishing and we had like a real shit day, I'd be like, take your money back, man. I can't take this money from you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened today. It's barometric pressures or something. This never happens. This never happens. They're always here. They're always right here. So
that came up from the bottom.
Taking somebody fishing for money is 1,000 times more nerve-wracking to me than anything else.
That's crazy, man. So just to switch topics a little bit, I mean, you have fished all over the country, and you've caught dozens and dozens and dozens of species of fish. Is there anywhere in the country you still want to fish, or out of the country? And is there anything you still have to scratch off the bucket list?
I guess technically a muskie on fly at some point. At some point, I'll get around to that. There's a lot of places that I want to fish, and actually, there's places that I've been that I had these quick hitter trips through media gigs and things over the past that more so I want to go back to. Like, I've only really fished the West Coast, the true West Coast, one time. I got to spend a couple days in San Diego. It was with Traeger Grills years ago. We had a fantastic time, and I followed those captains that I got to run out with, and we had so-so days. Like, we caught some yellowtail, my first yellowtail. Amazing, cool bottom fishing. But then I'm watching these dudes and like their tuna game out there, and I'm like, I really need to go back there and spend like some real time,
Oh yeah.
I haven't spent enough time like I'm very intrigued by the desert lakes too. The desert lakes in California, and for years I've always wanted to go striper fishing on Lake Mead, and I've had the opportunity, but I always thought it would be cool for that contrast of Vegas, and then right down the road there's pure strain stripers in Mead. So there's tons of things, man, in and out of the country. Brook trout in Canada, like the big Labrador brook trout. I've not gotten there yet. Maybe someday.
Yeah. Well, there is it's not technically Canada, but we are fishing in a Canada lake that we're going to do this year with a captain that we have up there called Captain Scott Tarnowski in Lake Ontario. Mm-hmm. Have you got any salmon on the fly yet? I'm trying to remember, and I just can't.
Yeah, no, I've gotten a bunch of them, but all in Alaska. So the Great Lakes salmon game, I've caught. I've caught one decent king on the fly, but it was total bycatch. I was steelhead fishing, and there just happened to be a late one still sitting in there. I think it was in the mouth. I'm not really that into the Great Lakes salmon scene. No disrespect to the guys who are tore up with that, but traditionally, I'd go play around up there December on. I was way more into the steelhead. But I've had a ton of fun in Alaska. Honestly, with dog salmon, with chum salmon, which nobody targets, but they eat readily, whether they're half dead or fresh, they eat. And I mean, just in terms of like seeing backing melt away, good times,
Yeah, for sure. A guy from New Jersey catching salmon in Alaska, it doesn't matter what the hell kind of salmon it is, dude. I mean, come on.
But I've never done big kings on the fly. I've done silvers too. That's a lot of fun.
Joe, does your webcam or whatever you're actually on right now, does that pivot to where the viewers that are actually watching can get a spot of the fish behind you there, buddy? I mean, I'm catching tails and fin, and I'm curious as hell over here.
It looks like a smallmouth.
So that's smallmouth. The trout right there.
Yeah.
That's the first trout I ever caught over 20 inches on the fly. That was the first fish I ever had mounted. So hang on, I'm going to unplug my power, and I'm going to try and also stay near the mic, and I'll give you the scan of the office space. So moving that way, that's an Alaskan silver.
Okay.
That one's just for Aaron.
That's Big Bertha, the 7.5 foot, 200-pound tarpon from Costa Rica.
Oh, man, I hope, man.
We got, that's a big old 34-inch walleye. Even though I'm not a big walleye fan, I had to get that one done.
Oh, for sure.
Can I guess and say that was with Ross Robertson?
Ross Robertson. Yes, Ross Robertson. Sorry, I don't want to lose audio. What else do I have back here?
Ton of skateboards.
Yeah, tons of skateboards.
I like that, though, dude. The skateboards painted up.
There's a snakehead back there that's a wood carving, and then I'll flip you this way for 1 sec. Let me know if I got it.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger trout, and that was my first striper over 40.
Nice, dude. So. That's awesome. You got to get that one on a mount.
Yeah, mix of replicas, skin, and wood carvings. So
that's really good, dude. That's really good. I like to hear the replicas, man. I mean, the old skin mounts are one thing, dude. I mean, but the replicas, I think it's the way to go nowadays, dude. I mean, there's so many people out there that make art when it comes to mounting these fish, dude, to where it's crazy not to. You know, the quality of it.
I completely agree for most species, but like that salmon. There's a long story behind that salmon. It was kind of a miracle fish, and we don't have time to tell it all. But when I caught it, I knew I wanted it to be mounted. And at that point in time, I'm like, I don't want a dude in Florida to make my silver salmon from Alaska. So I paid like double to have a skin mount guy in Ninilchik, Alaska, do that one for me. So like that's an example of one where I'm like, I want skin on that one.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. But I would never kill that tarpon. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, or that smallmouth. Like it.
No.
I hear you, man. And what I wanted to ask you was, I remember you've posted a couple photos of some mounts that you have done. Do you still dabble in that, making your own mounts?
Oh, hell no. No, that was like a pre-college phase. There's still a couple kicking around, but yeah, no. And you know, Chris, it's better that way. That was a lot of like just stank in the basement while carcasses were drying out. Yeah, I recently dug up an old bluefish at my dad's house, which he saved because it was so terrible he couldn't throw it away. He's like, this is so bad.
That was the one that I saw a couple weeks ago.
It's going to be funny later. I had a handful of like crappies and bass come out okay for a beginner, but dude, every saltwater fish I ever tried, they just got too much oil in them, and the bluefish was a massive mistake. Like you're never getting all the oil out of that.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, that's awesome, dude. And I appreciate giving the viewers a spin around of the home office, dude. I can't wait. If you give the viewers, or I mean, I don't know if you're doing a live stream with the podcast you're going to do, man, but I can't wait to see the office, dude. Because I mean, that's.
Yeah, well, I intend to do just that. Although it's not going to be in here, it's going to be in a cooler space than this.
Right, nice. And I can't wait to see that, dude. To be honest with you, man, I'm looking forward to that one, dude.
And who knows? We might get lucky enough to have Joe film a series with us. I mean, that would be something cool. I mean, I'm looking.
Let's talk. Yeah,
I'm looking to do an East Coast tour part 2.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to doing, and that's what we've been talking about. I'm talking about from all the way up from Maine down to the Keys. That's something that we've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm really hoping that we can get that going for sure.
It's funny you bring that up. I've lived my whole life right on Route 1 here in Jersey, and I've always wanted, because it's like the oldest road in the East Coast, I believe, theoretically. I mean, it's all part of the Lincoln Highway and, Route 1, Key West to Maine. I've always wanted to go from Maine to Key West on Route 1 without ever getting on 95 or anything and fishing the whole way. And then I was like, well, that'll take 4 months. I don't see how that's possibly going to happen.
Right. And to be honest with you, that's what's holding us up, is the fact that like we're trying to beat it up to where if we're flying out, jumping on a chartered thing, or we're figuring out, I mean, there's so much to figure out. And I know you know this, but the funds play into all of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost impossible to do something. Just be, me and Chris joke around like, hey, listen, why don't we just become pirates, dude? And I'm like, I got this boat, dude, and if you got the time, we could just, make it happen in that direction. What the hell? But yeah, hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to put something like that together to where if it's not the entire, East Coast, then it's at least hopping through and catching the main species that at least everybody, if not, are lone off want to catch for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're pressed for time, Joe. So I want to ask you one more question. And I'm not sure if this is going to be something that you're going to know right off the bat, but I know you are a river guy. So I'm going to put you on the spot. One river, one fly. Where are you going and what's your go-to?
One river, one fly. Ah, man. One river, the main stem of the upper Delaware, right where the branches come together. Drunken, disorderly streamer.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for your time, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to bring out to the table later on. Once again, everybody, Joe Cermele. I will link his Instagram in the description below, and thanks for coming on, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Anytime, boys.
Oh, man, it was really great to hear from Joe, man. I can't wait to see what holds in the future from Joe Cermele, and I'm excited. I can't lie about that.
Nah, dude. And you know what, Chris, I told him as well as I told you many times, I've never looked into any of his previous stuff until recently. And I can't believe that me and this guy have not crossed paths, dude. Like most of the people that are on his friends list or, that are close acquaintances, I know personally, dude. So it's like, it blows my friggin' mind that me and him have not bumped heads before and, even fished on the same fucking boat, dude, to be honest with you. But Joe's a great guy, Chris. And like I said, even in the past, he reminds me of a guy that I went to high school with, dude, that you could just have a good time with and just be able to fish, dude. And the story about the tog on fly at night sold me, dude. I mean, who else in your friends list or that you've ever met, dude, can say he's even caught a tog on fly, let alone at night underneath the lights, dude. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's crazy, man. That's kind of crazy that you guys never crossed paths. I mean, you guys are both South Jersey guys, and he's always out there, just like I know you are. But Joe, not to sound flattering or anything like that. Joe is one of those people that I look up to in this industry, especially with what we're trying to do with this podcast and future plans and stuff like that. And, he's the epitome of like the right path to go to. Does it the right way. I mean, if you read his journalism, the man is extremely, extremely cordial, but also he's cool as hell too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's kind of hard to find a mixture of somebody who's professional and yet still a badass at the same time. You know what I'm saying? He definitely tops the cake for that.
Yeah, and Chris, it would be a dream, dude, to have an article written about you or myself by him. So that says a lot, dude. Like, to have somebody like that takes pride in what he does and puts all of what he does and does it for the followers, does it for the group of people that is out there, either buying merch or listening or, watching the videos. I mean, he does it for all the group of guys and girls that follow him, dude. So, I mean, that's commemorable, dude, really. And again, I can't believe we haven't crossed paths, dude. For South Jersey, man, there's so many spots that I see in these videos that this man's fishing. And I'm just like, he had to be that boat crossing in night that was hooting and hollering, but he got him before I did,
Yeah, one thing about Joe, man, he's very, very secretive about his spots. He knows his honey holes and he knows where to get to them. So before we wrap out today's episode, we're going to leave you with another gift from Extreme Bait Tanks.
Yeah, man. So guys, again, if you have not checked out this product, an amazing product. I mean, above and beyond anything else on the market right now when it comes to bait tanks. They will fit all your needs, all your sizes, all your applications for your boat, for the pier cart, for your car, any friggin' thing you need. This man will make and design something for you. So Angler Talk 10 will give you a percentage off. Angler Talk 10. Don't forget that, guys, when you go to checkout.
And for those who are watching on YouTube, obviously you can see the big logo that comes in the middle of the screen. That's extremebaittanks.com. Well, for this week, he's Aaron and I'm Chris, and we're out. Tight lines.